Mysterious CCTV footage. In late March 2024, residents of Sumter County, South Carolina, found themselves at the center of a mystery that felt like something straight out of a horror film. A strange masked figure began appearing after dark in the Meadowcroft subdivision, quietly approaching homes and frightening locals. The individual was captured on a surveillance camera, standing close to the side of a house, staring directly into the lens. The mask they wore was unsettling in its simplicity, a pale face devoid of expression, with only hollow black eye sockets and nostril holes visible. The sight was enough to leave those in the home shaken and has since rattled the entire neighborhood. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office soon launched an official investigation into what they described as suspicious activity. Authorities released the eerie photograph to the public, a decision that quickly spread the story across social media. The masked character immediately drew comparisons to fictional figures like the Slender Man, whose faceless white visage shares similarities with the unsettling mask seen in the surveillance image. What makes the encounter even more unnerving is that no crime was reported during the incident. The figure did not attempt to break into the home or cause damage, but the act of standing outside, silently, with such a menacing presence was more than enough to deeply unsettle the family inside. The exact date of the incident was March 24th, when the image was recorded outside a residence on Caitlin Drive. According to investigators, the residents of the home were terrified when they realized someone had been lurking so close to their door. With Meadowcroft subdivision located only 40 miles east of Columbia, the story quickly spread through neighboring communities, and people began reporting their fears online. Many speculated on the identity of the masked figure, with some believing it might be a local prankster, while others thought it was something far stranger and more sinister. Despite police efforts, the investigation has yet to produce any definitive answers. Officers canvassed the area, spoke with neighbors, and attempted to locate the suspect, but the masked individual seemed to vanish into the night. No additional sightings have been confirmed since the photograph was released, leaving many to wonder if the incident was a one-time occurrence or part of something larger. The lack of answers has only fueled speculation, with theories ranging from a disturbed individual deliberately trying to frighten families to those who suggest there could be a deeper, more mysterious explanation. For residents of the area, the fear remains real. A person wandering through quiet suburban streets after dark, wearing such a bizarre and faceless mask, is a deeply unsettling thought. Parents have urged their children to remain indoors during the evenings, and homeowners are paying closer attention to their security systems, wary of another strange encounter. What makes the case particularly haunting is its mystery. If the masked figure had committed a crime, the act itself would be easier to categorize and investigate. But the absence of any illegal action leaves it suspended between harmless mischief and something far more disturbing. The blank mask, captured so clearly in the surveillance image, seems to represent the very mystery of the case, emotionless, unknowable, and without explanation. The mystery passengers. In the months following the devastating earthquake and tsunami that struck northeastern Japan on the 11th of March 2011, a strange and haunting series of reports emerged from the coastal town of Ishinomaki. This community, one of the hardest hit by the disaster, became the focus of an unsettling mystery that continues to baffle residents and researchers alike. Taxi drivers began recounting extraordinary encounters with passengers who appeared to be real but were later revealed to be apparitions. These ghostly passengers often appeared as dark, shadow-like figures lingering near the roadside, waiting to be picked up like any ordinary fare. Drivers reported seeing them approach their vehicles, and in some cases, surveillance cameras even captured faint images of figures getting into the cars. At first, nothing seemed unusual. The passengers would quietly enter the vehicle and provide a destination, but as the driver began to converse, a chilling realization would occur. The seats were empty, and the passengers had vanished into thin air. Many of the destinations given by these apparitions were places deeply connected to the tsunami. Some requested to be taken to areas where entire neighborhoods had once stood, now nothing more than wastelands of debris. Others asked to be driven to homes that had been swept away. In each case, the eerie silence and the sudden disappearance left drivers shaken. Yet these stories were not isolated. Multiple taxi drivers across Ishinomaki shared similar experiences, reinforcing the belief that these encounters were genuine manifestations of the many lives lost in the tragedy. What makes these events especially compelling is the cultural and spiritual backdrop of Japan. In Japanese tradition, there is a deep reverence for the spirits of those who have passed on, and it is believed that restless souls sometimes linger in the world of the living. Given the scale of the tragedy in 2011, many in Ishinomaki and beyond came to believe that the apparitions seen by taxi drivers were the spirits of those who had not yet found peace. These spirits, confused and still searching for their way home, may have reached out to the living in the only way they could, by entering taxis and asking to be taken to familiar places. Some of the drivers later admitted that they did not feel fear, but rather sadness and compassion. They viewed these passengers as people longing for closure, still caught between worlds. A few drivers even kept the meters running out of respect, recording unpaid fares as a symbolic act of kindness for the souls they had carried. For them, these encounters were not just eerie experiences, but reminders of the shared grief and the enduring human connection that transcends even the boundary between life and death. To this day, the reports remain unexplained. No rational investigation has been able to fully account for the consistency of the testimonies or the strange recordings on security footage. For many in Japan, the ghostly passengers of Ishinomaki represent more than a mystery. They embody the lingering sorrow of an event that changed the nation forever. Whether seen as spirits seeking peace, echoes of trauma imprinted on the land, or inexplicable phenomena, the tales of the taxi drivers continue to remind the world of the human stories behind the great disaster. The ghost passengers of Ishinomaki stand as one of the most haunting and poignant mysteries of modern times. They reveal not only the profound sense of loss felt by a community, but also the possibility that the departed may still linger, reaching out in subtle ways to be acknowledged and remembered. The Mystery of the Ghostly Vision by Francisco de Goya, rediscovered in 2016 after being lost for 90 years. In 2016, the art world was shaken by the rediscovery of a long-lost painting by Francisco de Goya, known as Ghostly Vision. Hidden from the public eye for 90 years, this work resurfaced like an apparition from the past, further deepening the mystery surrounding Goya's most mysterious and unsettling creations, the infamous black paintings. The resurfacing of this piece not only reignited interest in the Spanish master's late works, but also revived the legends and unexplained tales that have always clung to these haunting canvases. The black paintings were originally executed directly onto the plaster walls of Goya's residence, the Quinta del Sordo, during the later years of his life. Their raw, unpolished intensity reflects a man grappling with darkness, solitude, and the shadows of human existence. Figures emerge distorted and spectral, their gazes lost in realms beyond the living. Scholars agree that Goya never intended these works for public exhibition, which only adds to their aura of secrecy. They were later transferred to canvas in the 19th century, though much of their original context was inevitably altered in the process. Among them, Ghostly Vision stands out as particularly haunting. The painting depicts an ethereal figure suspended between the realms of life and afterlife, its features blurred as though caught between dimensions. The rediscovery of this work after so many decades sparked speculation about why it had disappeared in the first place. Some believed it had been deliberately hidden, while others suggested it was misplaced during the turbulent years of the 20th century. Whatever the reason, its sudden reappearance reinforced the strange magnetism these works exert on viewers and historians alike. What gives the black paintings, and Ghostly Vision in particular, their enduring mystique is not only their disturbing imagery, but also the tales that surround them. For years, rumors have persisted of ghostly presences linked to these works. Visitors to galleries where they hang have reported feelings of unease, sudden chills, or the uncanny sensation of being watched. Restorers who worked on them described odd occurrences, such as brushes inexplicably slipping from their hands or a weight in the air that could not be explained. Though such experiences remain in the realm of personal testimony, they add to the sense that Goya's late works are not merely paintings, but portals into something beyond ordinary understanding. Experts continue to study the black paintings, exploring their relationship to the rooms they once inhabited, the ambience of the Quinta del Sordo, and the state of mind of Goya himself when he created them. Yet even the most rigorous analysis cannot strip them of their ghostly aura. Each brushstroke seems to carry a hidden message, a whisper from a realm just beyond human comprehension. With ghostly vision returning to the light, the mystery only intensifies, for the painting fits seamlessly into the unsettling gallery of images, yet also brings new questions about Goya's intent. The rediscovery of ghostly vision after 90 years is more than a triumph of art history. It is a reminder of the enduring power of mystery. Goya's black paintings remain masterpieces of fear and fascination, their meanings elusive, their presence almost otherworldly. Whether one believes in the legends of spirits that linger within them or not, the truth remains that few artworks in human history carry such a heavy weight of intrigue. The return of this lost painting ensures that the mystery of Francisco de Goya will continue to haunt and inspire for generations to come. The mystery of the Black Stickmen. One of the most peculiar reports surrounding paranormal activity located in forests all across North America appears to be that of a paranormal phenomenon known as the Black Stickmen. By all regards, the Black Stickmen are an extremely recent phenomenon, with the first known report having been written roughly a little over a year ago during 2018, and no hint of such creatures having existed at any point in time prior to these first reports. The first well-documented report of the Black Stickmen came from researcher Mark Wolfgang Miller, who claimed that he had encountered the strange creature during an expedition throughout the small town of Buford, Wyoming. There, he claimed that he and his team came within 6 feet of a black stickman that towered above them in the forest and would have been completely invisible had it not turned to face them. According to eyewitness reports, the Black Stickmen are a paranormal or supernatural creature that appears to stand at 7 feet to 12 feet tall, is completely void of color or light, and is typically described similar to that of a silhouette or shadow. These entities are so thin that the creature is widely claimed to be only 2-dimensional in shape, and, when turned sideways, is impossible to see by any eyewitness account. It is this 2-dimensionality that allows the Black Stickmen to sneak up on the eyewitnesses in their stories and suddenly appear in front of them after turning to face them. Black Stickmen are not similar to reports of shadow people in mostly 3 separate regards. Unlike claims of shadow people, the Black Stickmen are widely regarded as being 2-dimensional, whereas shadow people have 3-dimensional shapes. Additionally, those of whom that have claimed to have witnessed the Black Stickmen will often say that they feel a sudden oppressive negative energy fill the air that causes a strange feeling of aggression and agitation in those surrounding or looking at the entity. Several theories of the creature so far believe the entity to be a being that's able to travel through different dimensions, only recently having accessed our 3-dimensional plane. The strange case of Barry and Honey Sherman. The mysterious and tragic case of Canadian billionaires Barry and Honey Sherman remains one of the most perplexing and high-profile homicide cases in recent history. Nearly 5 years after their deaths, their son, Jonathan Sherman, has increased the reward for information leading to an arrest to a staggering $35 million. The Shermans, a philanthropic couple known for their vast contributions to hospitals, universities, and Jewish organizations, were found strangled in their Toronto home on December 15, 2017. Despite years of investigation and public appeals, no suspect has been named, leaving their family desperate for answers and justice. Barry Sherman was the founder and chairman of Apotex, a pharmaceutical company that made him one of the richest men in Canada. With a fortune estimated to be between $5 billion and $10 billion, his influence extended beyond business, as he and his wife were dedicated to charitable work. Their deaths sent shockwaves throughout Canada, not only because of their wealth and status, but also due to the sheer brutality of the crime. The couple was found side by side with their bodies posed near their indoor pool. Police later confirmed it was a double homicide, ruling out any possibility that one of them had taken the other's life. Since the case was declared a murder investigation, police efforts have been extensive. Toronto authorities have interviewed over 250 witnesses, obtained 41 warrants, and received more than 1,200 tips from the public. However, despite these efforts, the case remains unsolved. Last December, police released surveillance footage of an unidentified person walking near the Shermans' home the day before they were slain. Investigators believe this individual is a key suspect, but the person has not yet been identified. While the police have reiterated their commitment to solving the case, The lack of significant breakthroughs has led the Sherman family to take matters into their own hands. From the beginning, the Sherman's children have been vocal in their dissatisfaction with the police investigation. Frustrated by what they saw as a lack of urgency and direction, they hired a private investigator to conduct a separate inquiry into the case. This independent investigation ran parallel to the police efforts, further emphasizing the family's determination to find justice for their parents. Now, with Jonathan Sherman adding an additional $18 million to the reward, the family hopes that someone with crucial information will come forward. Jonathan Sherman has expressed deep grief over his parents' case, stating that the pain of losing them has been unbearable. He noted that their absence is felt every day, particularly when he thinks about how his children will never have the opportunity to know their grandparents. In his statement, he also acknowledged that his parents had worked hard their entire lives, and they deserved to enjoy their later years surrounded by family, rather than having their lives cut short in such a brutal manner. The mystery surrounding the Sherman's case has led to numerous theories, ranging from professional assassination to business-related retaliation. Barry Sherman was known for his aggressive business tactics, often engaging in legal battles within the pharmaceutical industry. Some believe that his success may have earned him powerful enemies, though no evidence has surfaced to support this theory definitively. Others speculate that the couple's vast fortune may have played a role, suggesting a financial motive behind what happened. Despite these theories, the case remains without resolution, and the Sherman family continues to push for answers. The massive reward now offered presents a significant incentive for anyone with knowledge of the crime to come forward. While some high-profile cases have gone unsolved for decades, history has shown that large financial incentives can sometimes lead to key breakthroughs. The Sherman family is holding on to hope that the increased reward will finally bring them the answers they have been seeking for years. The disappearance of Marion Barter remains one of Australia's most baffling missing person cases. Marion was a well-respected teacher, a devoted mother, and an adventurous spirit who seemed to be embarking on the trip of a lifetime when she vanished without a trace in 1997. Despite numerous investigations, inquiries, and a dedicated army of amateur sleuths, the mystery of what happened to her remains unsolved. Marion was last seen on June 22, 1997, when she was dropped off at a bus stop in Southport, Queensland, to travel to the airport. She had told her family she was planning a long-term vacation to England. For her daughter, Sally Layden, it was an emotional but exciting farewell, as Marion was fulfilling her lifelong dream of traveling abroad. At the time, there was no indication that this trip would be the last time anyone in her family would see or hear from her. A month later, on August 1, 1997, Marion called her daughter from a phone booth in Tunbridge Wells, England. She spoke enthusiastically about her experiences and mentioned postponing her trip on the Orient Express because she was enjoying herself so much. However, their conversation abruptly ended when Marion ran out of coins. That would be the last time Sally ever heard from her mother. What made the case even more perplexing was the discovery that Marion's passport had arrived back in Brisbane the very next day. Official records showed that she had changed her name before leaving Australia, taking on the identity of Fernand Nicolas Remakel. This name was later linked to a man named Remakel Blum, a Belgian national known to have had multiple affairs and a history of frequently changing his name. Blum had been married for 40 years to his wife, Diane de Hedevari, yet he was also active in the world of Lonely Hearts ads, describing himself as single and looking for love. During the inquest into Marion's disappearance, Blum admitted to meeting her through a dating advertisement, but denied any involvement in her disappearance. His repeated name changes and evasiveness raised suspicions, but there was no definitive evidence linking him to her fate. He insisted that he had not harmed her or played any role in her disappearance, despite acknowledging that he had known her personally. In August 2020, the New South Wales State Coroner announced an investigation into Marion's disappearance and presumed death. This decision reignited public interest in the case, prompting podcasts, social media pages, and online sleuths to dig deeper into what really happened. The case became a subject of national discussion in Australia, though it remains largely unknown in the United Kingdom, where she was last seen. Authorities struggled to piece together the puzzle of Marion's last known movements. While her passport's return to Australia suggested she had come back, there were no further records of her whereabouts. Her bank accounts showed suspicious withdrawals, but no confirmed sightings of her ever surfaced. This led investigators to consider the possibility that she had met with foul play upon her return. For years, Marion's family felt abandoned by law enforcement, as her disappearance was not even listed on the National Missing Persons Register for over 2 decades. It wasn't until 2019, when the New South Wales Missing Persons Unit was disbanded and replaced with a new unit, that her case was finally reviewed. The Australian Federal Police reopened the investigation, placing her on the register and acknowledging the deep failures in her case's handling. The renewed investigation prompted a major breakthrough in June 2021, when New South Wales Police and the local government announced a $250,000 reward for information leading to the discovery of what happened to Marion. The reward was later increased to $500,000 in April 2022, reflecting the growing pressure to solve this decades-old mystery. Despite these efforts, the case remains unsolved. Sally Layden has continued to push for answers, refusing to let her mother's disappearance be forgotten. She has dedicated years to raising awareness, appearing in interviews, and working alongside investigators in the hope of uncovering the truth. Marion Barter's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how easily someone can disappear, even in the modern world. The lack of clear evidence, combined with the strange circumstances surrounding her case, has left more questions than answers. Theories about her fate range from voluntary disappearance to potential foul play, but without definitive proof, the truth remains elusive. The case of Marion Barter continues to captivate the public, with podcasts and online communities determined to find out what really happened. Whether through new witnesses coming forward, advancements in forensic investigations, or persistent efforts by her family and supporters, the hope remains that one day, the mystery of Marion Barter will finally be solved. The unknown identity of the Giza Bandit. The Giza Bandit remains one of the most infamous and mysterious bank robbers in modern history. Between 2009 and 2011, this elusive criminal robbed 16 banks across San Diego County, leaving authorities baffled and the public captivated. His signature appearance was that of an elderly man, seemingly in his 60s or 70s, complete with a frail gait and wrinkled skin. However, many believe this was nothing more than an elaborate disguise, a well-crafted latex mask meant to mislead investigators and witnesses. The true identity of the Giza Bandit remains unknown, and his ability to vanish without a trace has only deepened the mystery surrounding his crimes. The crime spree began on August 28, 2009, when the Giza Bandit robbed a US bank in Santee, California. Surveillance footage showed an elderly man approaching the teller, calmly presenting a demand note and brandishing a small handgun. His demeanor was composed, almost rehearsed, leading many to speculate that he was not an amateur but an experienced criminal. After securing the money, he walked out of the bank at a normal pace, disappearing into the streets without immediate pursuit. Over the next 2 years, he struck 15 more times, each robbery nearly identical in execution. Special Agent James Stinnett of the FBI in San Diego has dedicated years to tracking the Giza Bandit, but no definitive leads have surfaced. The most significant piece of evidence left behind was a day planner that the bandit dropped at the scene of his first robbery. Investigators have been forensically analyzing the item for fingerprints or DNA, yet it has not yielded any conclusive results. The FBI remains hopeful that this piece of evidence may one day provide the breakthrough they need to identify the mysterious robber. One of the prevailing theories is that the Giza Bandit may have changed his disguise entirely. His effectiveness in avoiding capture suggests a high level of criminal sophistication. The FBI has been analyzing the body movements of recent bank robbers to see if they match the distinct mannerisms of the Giza Bandit. While the mask may have been a clever deception, his physical habits and gait might give him away if he is still active. Some investigators believe he may still be committing crimes, but under a completely different persona, making it much harder to track him down. Despite the intensity of the investigation, there is also the possibility that the Giza Bandit simply stopped robbing banks. However, history suggests that most bank robbers continue their criminal activities until they are caught. The sudden halt in his robberies in 2011 has led some to theorize that he may have been arrested under a different crime, left the country, or even passed away. Without new evidence, the case remains open-ended, leaving room for speculation. The case of the Giza Bandit is one that continues to intrigue law enforcement and true crime enthusiasts alike. His ability to evade capture, the likelihood of a well-crafted disguise, and his possible re-emergence under a new identity make him one of the most mysterious criminals in recent history. Whether he will ever be unmasked remains to be seen, but for now, the mystery endures. The mystery of Ryan Shtuka. The disappearance of Ryan Shtuka remains one of Canada's most haunting unsolved mysteries. In 2018, the 20-year-old lift operator from Alberta vanished without a trace after leaving a party in Sun Peaks, British Columbia. His absence triggered an immediate and widespread search, with volunteers from across British Columbia and Alberta coming together in hopes of finding any trace of him. Despite the efforts of law enforcement, search and rescue teams, and his loved ones, no definitive clues have emerged to explain what happened to him that night. Sun Peaks, a popular ski resort town, was plastered with billboards bearing Ryan's face, serving as a constant reminder of his unresolved fate. These billboards stood as silent witnesses to the unanswered questions surrounding his disappearance. The eerie reminder was unavoidable for those traveling through the area, emphasizing just how deeply the mystery of Ryan's vanishing has affected the community. The case has remained open and active, with both professional and amateur investigators continuing their efforts to find answers. On the night of February 17, 2018, Ryan attended a house party with friends. By 2 a.m, he decided to leave, presumably heading home. However, he never arrived, and no one has seen or heard from him since. His disappearance was both baffling and deeply unsettling. There were no signs of struggle, no known conflicts, and no clear explanation for how he simply vanished into the cold winter night. The terrain around Sun Peaks was thoroughly searched, but no definitive evidence has been found. The lack of clues has led to numerous theories, but none have provided closure to his grieving family and friends. In the days following his disappearance, hundreds of volunteers braved the harsh winter conditions to search the surrounding mountains and heavily wooded areas. Ryan's parents, Heather and Scott Shtuka, quickly traveled to Sun Peaks to lead the search efforts. Their determination to find their son was unwavering, and they held on to the hope that each new day would bring fresh leads. Despite the exhaustive searches conducted by both trained professionals and dedicated volunteers, Ryan's whereabouts remained a mystery. One of the most significant efforts involved the use of a search dog, led by search and rescue team member Mike Ritzie. He believed that expanding the search perimeter beyond the immediate Sun Peaks area could yield new insights. While the mountains and ski resort itself had been meticulously combed through, there was always the possibility that a clue had been overlooked in the vast wilderness surrounding the town. However, even with these expanded efforts, no trace of Ryan has been discovered. The mystery of Ryan Shtuka's disappearance has left an indelible mark on the Sun Peaks community. The uncertainty surrounding his fate has caused many to exercise increased caution, knowing that someone can seemingly vanish without warning. The case serves as a reminder of how fragile life can be, and how even in tight-knit communities, people can disappear without a trace. His family and the townspeople continue to hope that one day, new information will come to light. For Ryan's family, the search has never truly ended. His mother, Heather, has been particularly vocal in keeping his story alive, advocating for awareness about missing persons and continuing to urge anyone with information to come forward. She has dedicated herself to ensuring that Ryan's name is not forgotten and that the unanswered questions surrounding his disappearance are not ignored. The heartbreak of not knowing what happened to their son is something they have been forced to endure every single day. As the years pass, the case remains open and the search for Ryan continues. His disappearance is a chilling mystery that has left a community in mourning and a family searching for closure. Those who knew him remember a young man full of life, laughter, and adventure. Until the day comes when answers are finally uncovered, the people of Sun Peaks and beyond will continue to hold on to the hope that one day Ryan Shtuka will be found. The unsolved mystery of Matthew and Philip Reagan. The case of Matthew and Philip Reagan remains one of the most perplexing and tragic unsolved mysteries in recent years. The two brothers, originally from Ohio, embarked on a road trip across the country in March 2020 with the ultimate goal of relocating Philip to California for a new job. Their journey, filled with adventure and sightseeing, ended abruptly in a desolate area of Sawmill, Arizona, on the Navajo Nation reservation. Their bodies were discovered with multiple pistol wounds on March 21, 2020, leaving investigators and their grieving family searching for answers. Philip Reagan, aged 29, had just accepted a job at the Montecito Sequoia Lodge in the Sequoia National Forest of Central California. He was anxious about the move, expressing to his family that he felt jobless and homeless and had no choice but to take the opportunity. His older brother, Matthew Reagan, aged 39, a married father of 5, decided to accompany him on the journey. Matthew was an engineer who designed heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, a career that frequently took him across the country for work. The two brothers set off west in an SUV, maintaining frequent contact with their family as they traveled. Their trip seemed to be going as planned. Along the way, they stopped at well-known landmarks, including the iconic U-Drop Inn Cafe on Route 66 in Shamrock, Texas. They even shared a photo in front of the Conoco gas station, a recognizable landmark featured in the animated film Cars. However, as they crossed from Texas into New Mexico, their communication with family became less frequent due to limited cell service. The last known contact was a Skype call between Matthew and his wife Faye from Shamrock, Texas. This was the final time she saw her husband and brother-in-law alive. On March 21st, the brothers were on their way to Canyon de Chelly, a national monument known for its ancient ruins and Native American rock carvings. At some point, they relied on GPS navigation, which led them down an unpaved road near Sawmill, Arizona. Investigators later determined that the GPS had misdirected them into a remote area covered in snow and mud. Their Ford SUV became stuck about half a mile from where their bodies were later found. Unable to move the vehicle, they attempted to walk back toward a gas station, but they never made it. At some point during their trek, both men were fired at multiple times. A passing driver noticed the brothers partially on the road and had to search for cell phone service before being able to call the authorities. The first law enforcement officers to arrive at the scene were members of the Navajo Tribal Police, followed by the Apache County Sheriff's deputies. Given that the crime occurred on the Navajo Nation reservation but involved non-Native American victims, the case was handed over to the FBI for further investigation. Determining jurisdiction in crimes on tribal land is complex, often requiring authorities to consider the identity of both the victim and the perpetrator before assigning investigative responsibility. The FBI has actively sought information from the public regarding the case, yet no suspect has been identified. Authorities have not revealed any known motives, nor have they suggested any possible links between the Reagan brothers and individuals who may have wanted to harm them. The circumstances surrounding their passings raise troubling questions. The fact that they were stranded in an unfamiliar area makes it less likely they had any prior connection to the individual. Despite the ongoing investigation, the case of Matthew and Philip Reagan remains unsolved. The FBI has asked for anyone with information to come forward, offering hope that a crucial piece of evidence might finally surface. The case remains a haunting reminder of how quickly a journey filled with hope and new beginnings can turn into a tragic and unexplained loss. The mystery of Amber Alyssa Tuccaro. Amber Alyssa Tuccaro's case remains one of the most haunting unresolved cases in Canada. Tuccaro, a 20-year-old Indigenous woman from Fort McMurray, Alberta, went missing in August 2010 after accepting a ride from an unknown man near Edmonton. Despite significant evidence, including an audio recording of her last known conversation, her killer has never been identified. Her case has become emblematic of the high number of missing Indigenous women in Canada and the failures in investigating their disappearances. On August 17, 2010, Tuccaro arrived in Edmonton with her infant son and a female friend for what was supposed to be a short vacation. The trio booked a hotel in Nisku, a small town just south of Edmonton, intending to enjoy a brief getaway. The next day, around 8 in the evening, Tuccaro left the hotel and decided to hitchhike into Edmonton. She was last seen getting into a vehicle with an unidentified man. During the car ride, Tuccaro received a phone call, and what followed would later become a critical piece of evidence in her case. In the recorded conversation, Tuccaro can be heard confronting the driver, questioning where they were going. The man assured her they were heading east toward Edmonton, but investigators later determined that he had actually driven south into rural Leduc County. Tuccaro's tone in the recording suggests she was becoming increasingly suspicious and uneasy. Her repeated questioning of the driver, combined with his vague and misleading responses, indicate that she realized something was wrong. 2 years later, on September 1, 2012, horseback riders discovered Tuccaro's remains in a field in Leduc County. Dental records confirmed her identity, turning her disappearance into a homicide investigation. The discovery raised more questions than answers, particularly regarding why it had taken so long for significant action to be taken in her case. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police's handling of the investigation came under severe scrutiny. On September 4, 2010, just weeks after Tuccaro's disappearance, police issued a statement saying they did not believe she was in any danger. This assumption, which lacked substantial evidence, deeply frustrated her family, who felt the authorities were not taking the case seriously. They believed that stereotypes about Indigenous women had influenced the investigation, leading to delays and negligence. The lack of urgency in the early stages of the case may have cost investigators crucial time in finding Tuccaro. Even after Tuccaro's remains were found, her family was left with little information about the progress of the investigation. Her brother, Paul Tuccaro, later revealed that the police had waited an entire year before releasing the audio recording of the unidentified man's voice to the public. This delay angered the family and raised concerns about the priorities and competence of law enforcement. In 2014, Tuccaro's family filed a complaint with the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The commission conducted an independent review of the case and released a 120-page report in August 2018. The findings were damning. The report concluded that the investigation was deeply flawed and that multiple officers had either lacked proper training or failed to follow established procedures. It found that crucial steps had been overlooked, and investigators had not adhered to the guidelines necessary for handling such cases. The Tuccaro case is a painful reminder of the widespread issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada. The country has long struggled with failures in addressing cases against Indigenous women who are disproportionately affected by disappearances. Families often feel ignored by law enforcement, and investigations are frequently mishandled or not given the attention they deserve. The lack of accountability and transparency in Tuccaro's case exemplifies these ongoing issues. Despite the release of the suspect's voice recording, no arrests have been made, and the identity of the man who was last with Tuccaro remains unknown. Investigators continue to urge the public to come forward if they recognize the voice, but more than a decade later, the case remains unsolved. Tuccaro's family has never stopped seeking justice. They continue to fight for answers and push for law enforcement agencies to take Indigenous women's cases more seriously. Their persistence has helped keep her case in the public eye, but without significant leads, it remains an open investigation. The pain of not knowing who took her life and why weighs heavily on her loved ones. Her case is part of a larger, deeply troubling pattern of violence against Indigenous women in Canada. The National Inquiry into Missing Indigenous Women, which concluded in 2019, labelled the issue a national crisis and called for changes in law enforcement and government policies. However, progress has been slow, and many families continue to struggle for answers. The case of Amber Tuccaro is not just an individual tragedy. It is a symbol of the ongoing crisis faced by Indigenous women in Canada. The failures in her case highlight the urgent need for reform in how authorities handle these disappearances. Viewers who tuned in to watch the broadcast of the Queen's funeral had an unexpected surprise when a mysterious voice unexpectedly accompanied the coverage. The unsettling narration caught many off guard, adding a mysterious and unsettling element to the solemn event. During the live broadcast of the procession escorting the deceased monarch's coffin out of London, a new transmission came onto the broadcast, resulting in a faint whispered voice that interrupted the coverage. The unexpected disruption added a mysterious element to the unfolding event, capturing the attention of viewers. In a brief pause, the male commentator, who had been closely monitoring the events on the live broadcast, suddenly lost his audio connection, and his voice was temporarily substituted by the mysterious female commentator. While it's hard to make out, she appeared to say, "The death is irreversible. The fact that she's trapped."
The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see,
the death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
as you can see,
the death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
as you can see.
Some online users suggested that there was a frequency problem, and monarch insiders were trying to do something that the public wasn't meant to hear. Others carried on and questioned why someone was talking about the Queen being trapped, which caused a variety of strange theories to be put forward in order to explain what the female voice was talking about. Those who heard the mysterious woman's voice even said that the male presenter purposefully talked over her in order to block out what she was saying. The passing of a monarch is a significant event that often carries deep implications for a nation's political stability, cultural identity, and societal cohesion. Throughout history, the passings of kings and queens have been shrouded in secrecy and ritual, with monarch insiders playing a crucial role in managing the transition of power and informing the public in a manner that maintains stability and continuity. One of the primary reasons for keeping a monarch's passing a secret before informing the public is to ensure a smooth transition of power and prevent any potential power vacuum or destabilizing effects on the nation. In monarchical systems, the passing of a monarch often triggers a carefully orchestrated succession process, with designated heirs or successors poised to assume the throne. Monarch insiders, such as royal advisors, courtiers, and high-ranking officials, are entrusted with the task of managing this transition discreetly, allowing the new monarch to assume their duties without undue disruption or uncertainty. Maintaining secrecy surrounding a monarch's passing also serves to preserve the dignity and honor of the royal family, shielding them from unwanted public scrutiny or sensationalism during a period of mourning. By controlling the flow of information and adhering to established protocols and traditions, monarch insiders can ensure that the transition of power proceeds with the solemnity and decorum befitting the occasion, minimizing the risk of controversy or discord within the royal household and among the public. Additionally, keeping a monarch's passing a secret for a brief period allows for the necessary logistical arrangements to be made for the official announcement and funeral proceedings. This may include notifying key stakeholders, coordinating funeral arrangements, and preparing the necessary ceremonial rituals and protocols. Monarch insiders play a pivotal role in overseeing these preparations behind the scenes, working closely with relevant authorities and stakeholders to ensure that everything is in place for a dignified and seamless transition of power. Furthermore, maintaining confidentiality surrounding a monarch's passing can help mitigate any potential political or diplomatic repercussions that may arise from the news. In some cases, the passing of a monarch may have significant implications for the nation's internal politics or its relations with other countries. By exercising discretion and caution in the dissemination of information, monarch insiders can manage these sensitivities and navigate any potential challenges or sensitivities that may arise in the aftermath of the monarch's passing. The process of keeping this a secret typically involves a tightly controlled circle of individuals who are privy to the information. This inner circle may include close family members, trusted advisors, senior government officials, and key figures within the royal household. These individuals are bound by strict codes of confidentiality and loyalty, ensuring that sensitive information remains safeguarded until the appropriate time for its disclosure. Once the necessary arrangements have been made and the new monarch is ready to assume their duties, the official announcement of the monarch's passing is typically made to the public through established channels and protocols. This may involve issuing a formal proclamation or declaration, followed by public ceremonies and rituals to mark the transition of power and mourn the loss of the deceased monarch. The mystery of the princes in the tower is one of the most enduring and intriguing mysteries in English history. Upon his unexpected passing on the 9th of April in 1483, due to an illness that spanned approximately 3 weeks, Edward IV of England left behind a significant political vacuum. During this period, his son, the newly crowned King Edward V, was residing at Ludlow Castle, while Richard, the Duke of Gloucester and Edward's brother, was stationed at Middleham Castle in Yorkshire. News of Edward IV's demise eventually reached Gloucester around the 15th of April, with potential prior knowledge of the king's ailing health. It is documented that upon hearing the news, Gloucester made a public display of his allegiance to the new monarch by visiting York Minster to affirm his loyalty. The historical accounts, such as the Croyland Chronicle, suggest that Edward IV had appointed Gloucester as the Lord Protector before his death. Despite Edward's request, the Privy Council was not obligated to adhere to the deceased king's wishes, as exemplified by the precedent set during Henry V's reign. This situation underscores the complexity of succession and power dynamics during that pivotal historical moment. Edward V and Gloucester embarked on their journeys towards London, approaching from the west and north regions respectively, finally converging at Stony Stratford on the 29th of April. The subsequent day, Gloucester proceeded to apprehend Edward's entourage, which notably included the young boy's uncle, Anthony Woodville, 2nd Earl Rivers, along with their half-brother Sir Richard Grey. This captive group was later transported to Pontefract Castle, situated in Yorkshire, where a grim fate awaited them on the 25th of June in the form of decapitation. Following this event, Gloucester took custody of the young prince, Edward V, which prompted a swift reaction from Elizabeth Woodville. In response, she sought refuge at Westminster Abbey with her son Richard, the Duke of York, and her daughters, in a bid to safeguard them from a similar fate. Edward V and Gloucester arrived in London together. Plans continued for Edward's official coronation, but the date was postponed from the 4th of May to the 25th of June. On the 19th of May, 1483, Edward was lodged in the Tower of London, then the traditional residence of monarchs prior to the coronation. On the 16th of June, he was joined by his younger brother Richard, Duke of York, who was previously in sanctuary. At this point, the date of Edward's coronation was indefinitely postponed by their uncle Gloucester. On Sunday, the 22nd of June, a sermon was preached by Dr. Ralph Shah, brother of the Lord Mayor of London, at St. Paul's Cross, claiming Gloucester to be the only legitimate heir of the House of York. On the 25th of June, a group of lords, knights and gentlemen petitioned Richard to take the throne. Both princes were subsequently declared illegitimate by Parliament. This was confirmed in 1484 by an Act of Parliament known as Titulus Regius. The Act stated that Edward IV and Elizabeth Woodville's marriage was invalid because of Edward's pre-contract of marriage with Lady Eleanor Butler. Gloucester was crowned King Richard III of England on the 6th of July. The declaration of the boy's illegitimacy has been described by Rosemary Horrocks as an ex post facto justification for Richard's accession. Dominic Mancini, an Italian friar who visited England in the 1480s and who was in London in the spring and summer of 1484, recorded that after Richard III seized the throne, Edward and his younger brother Richard were taken into the inner apartments of the tower and then were seen less and less until they disappeared altogether. Mancini records that, during this period, Edward was regularly visited by a doctor who reported that Edward sought remission of his sins by daily confession and penance because he believed that the end was facing him. The Latin reference to Argentinus Medicus was originally translated as a Strasbourg doctor. However, Rhodes suggests it may actually refer to Dr. Argentine, whom Rhodes identifies as John Argentine, an English physician who later served as Provost of King's College, Cambridge, and as Doctor to Arthur, Prince of Wales, eldest son of King Henry VII of England. Following Richard's reunion with his brother, there have been accounts suggesting that the two princes were observed engaging in playful activities within the tower premises. However, records do not document any further sightings of them beyond the summer of 1483. An unsuccessful rescue mission was undertaken towards the end of July in an effort to locate them. The destiny of the two princes continues to linger as an unsolved mystery, shrouded in mystery and speculation. Various theories and conjectures have been put forth over the years, yet no definitive answers have emerged to resolve their ultimate fate. Many scholars in the field of history speculate about the fate of the princes, with a prevailing belief that they met a tragic end. There is a view suggesting that the possible occurrence of their demise took place in the latter part of the summer of 1483. Maurice Keane puts forward the argument that the uprising against Richard III in 1483 was initially aimed at liberating Edward V and his sibling from the confines of the Tower of London before it was too late. However, as the Duke of Buckingham got involved, the focus of the rebellion shifted towards endorsing Henry Tudor, as Buckingham likely had knowledge of the prince's demise within the Tower's walls. Alison Weir posits the 3rd of September 1483 as a probable date for the event. Nonetheless, Weir's findings have faced criticism for being heavily reliant on her own conjecture rather than on the ambiguous evidence she has presented in a misleading manner. The mysteries surrounding the disappearance of the two princes at the hands of a possible murder remain a subject of intricate scholarly debate, delving deep into the complexities of political dynamics and power struggles of that era. In his analysis of historical records, Clements Markham, a prominent historian, suggests that there is a possibility that the princes, believed to be Edward V and Richard, Duke of York, could have still been alive as late as July 1484. Markham draws attention to a set of regulations issued by Richard III household that specified the requirement for the children to have breakfast together. However, diverging from Markham's view, James Gairdner argues that the identity of the term "the children" is ambiguous and might not necessarily refer to the princes in question. Gairdner posits that the phrase could have been alluding to a different group of individuals. Specifically, he proposes that the children mentioned in the regulations could be Edward, Earl of Warwick, who was the son of the Duke of Clarence, along with Edward IV's two youngest daughters, Catherine and Bridget. These individuals were under the care of Richard III at Sheriff Hutton during that period. While the fate of the princes remains shrouded in mystery, the absence of conclusive evidence hinders any definitive conclusion, as acknowledged by the lack of credible and impartial sources detailing the events surrounding their disappearance. Despite the ambiguity surrounding their fate, speculations concerning their demise quickly proliferated following their vanishing act. Notably, Dominic Mancini's sole contemporary narrative depicting the prince's time in the Tower stood as a rare account until its unearthing in 1934 at the Municipal Library in Lille. Subsequent chronicles penned post the rise of Henry Tudor often carry accusations of bias or Tudor-influenced narratives, casting doubt on their reliability. The narrative's scarcity adds layers of complexity to the long-standing mystery surrounding the prince's untimely disappearance, inviting a deeper exploration of the intricacies and implications surrounding their mysterious case. On June 21, 2017, a couple in Montrose, Colorado, witnessed a peculiar occurrence in the sky. According to the witness, as they were watching the sunset from their front deck, the husband noticed bright lights moving in their direction from the west. The wife hurried inside to grab her phone, while her husband grabbed his Canon camera, and together they successfully captured images of the first object. While taking pictures and videos with their phones, they stated that one of their friends who was there at the time witnessed an unusual object in the sky, detailing that it can best be described as resembling a phoenix or angelic form. The object had a long and thin silver body that looked like a jet or cylinder, with a potential nose pointing downwards. The couple managed to capture pictures and video of the sighting from two different angles, but said that it didn't look like anything they had ever seen before, saying that one of the first things that came to mind was that this object looked like a phoenix. The couple said that at the time of the sighting it was cloudy day, but noted that they weren't the only ones who saw this. It is unclear whether there were one or two of these entities, one potentially circling the city due to the timing of their separate appearances. The couple said that the shape of the object they encountered was not immediately evident until they viewed photos of it on their computer. They felt both eager and anxious upon seeing it, as they said that they have witnessed other unidentified objects in the past. However, this particular object differed from the last two they saw, which were hovering in tandem above a local restaurant. The image was sent to the Mutual UFO Network and was filed under case number 84548. Interestingly, this couple were not the only ones to report this sighting, but were the only ones to capture this image, and this was due to the husband having a telephoto lens, which is a long focus lens that allows photographers to take images of objects far away from them. Various theories have been put forward in order to explain what this object was, and interestingly, some suggested that it could have been the mythical Thunderbird. Native American mythology is rich with stories of powerful and majestic creatures that inhabit the skies, and one of the most prominent among them is the Thunderbird. Revered and respected by numerous tribes across North America, the Thunderbird holds a significant place in indigenous folklore, symbolizing strength, power, and spiritual connection. In Native American cultures, the Thunderbird is often depicted as a large bird-like creature with wings that span the sky. It is believed to have the ability to create thunder and lightning, hence its name. The Thunderbird is associated with the forces of nature, particularly storms, and is seen as a powerful and sometimes unpredictable force. Different tribes have their own unique interpretations of the Thunderbird, but common themes prevail across many traditions. Among the Ojibwe people, for example, the Thunderbird is known as Benesi and is considered a powerful and sacred being. According to their legends, the Thunderbird plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of the natural world and has the ability to bring rain and renew the earth. Similarly, the Lakota people regard the Thunderbird as a sacred and powerful creature. They believe that the Thunderbird is responsible for delivering important messages between the spiritual and physical realms. It is considered a guardian and protector, watching over the people and bringing blessings and good fortune. Legends surrounding the Thunderbird often intertwine with creation stories and important cultural beliefs. For many tribes, the Thunderbird is associated with the sun, representing its transformative power and life-giving energy. It is also believed to possess healing properties, with its feathers and body parts used in various rituals and ceremonies for their perceived spiritual and medicinal qualities. The Thunderbird is not merely a creature of myth and legend, but is deeply ingrained in the cultural fabric of Native American communities. Its image can be found in traditional artwork, totem poles, and regalia, symbolizing the tribe's connection to the natural world and their reverence for the forces of nature. Beyond its cultural significance, the Thunderbird also holds relevance in the contemporary world. Its image has been adopted by various organizations and sports teams, serving as a symbol of strength, resilience, and unity. This recognition and incorporation of the Thunderbird into mainstream culture is a testament to the enduring power and influence of Native American beliefs and traditions. The significance of the Thunderbird extends beyond its symbolic representation. Many individuals claim to have witnessed sightings or encounters with creatures resembling the Thunderbird. These accounts often describe large, winged creatures with incredible wingspans and extraordinary abilities. While these reports cannot be scientifically verified, they contribute to the ongoing fascination and intrigue surrounding the Thunderbird and its existence. The Thunderbird's presence in Native American mythology serves as a reminder of the deep connection between indigenous cultures and the natural world. It emphasizes the importance of respecting and living in harmony with the environment, recognizing the power and wisdom inherent in the natural elements. Some people don't think that this sighting was a mythical creature and labeled it as an unidentified object. The number of reported UFO sightings varies from year to year, and it is challenging to establish an accurate count due to several factors, including the varying definitions of unidentified objects and the reporting practices in different regions. However, it is evident that a significant number of sightings are reported annually, with thousands of cases being documented worldwide. One of the key challenges in estimating the exact number of reports is the fact that not all sightings are reported or recorded. Many individuals may witness something unusual in the sky, but choose not to report it for various reasons, such as fear of ridicule or a lack of awareness of reporting mechanisms. As a result, the reported numbers are likely only a fraction of the actual sightings that occur. Despite these limitations, several organizations and agencies actively collect and analyze reports. The National UFO Reporting Center in the United States, for example, receives thousands of reports each year. Other countries also have similar organizations or initiatives dedicated to recording and investigating UFO sightings. The Mutual UFO Network is another prominent organization that collects and investigates reports worldwide. In addition to these organizations, advancements in technology and the widespread use of smartphones have made it easier for individuals to document and report sightings. People can capture photos or videos and quickly share them through social media platforms or dedicated sighting websites. This accessibility has contributed to an increase in the number of reported sightings in recent years. Illegal digging, also known as looting or tomb raiding, has been a persistent problem in Egypt for many years. The country's rich archaeological heritage and the lure of valuable artifacts have made it a prime target for looters. According to a 2018 report by the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities, there were more than 30 cases of illegal digging or attempted illegal digging reported in the country that year alone. However, it is believed that many more cases go unreported. Illegal digging can have a devastating impact on Egypt's cultural heritage. It can lead to the destruction of archaeological sites and the loss of important artifacts that can never be recovered. It also fuels a black market for antiquities, where stolen artifacts are sold for large sums of money. The Egyptian government has taken steps to combat illegal digging, including increasing penalties for those caught and stepping up patrols of archaeological sites. However, the problem persists, and more needs to be done to protect Egypt's cultural heritage from looters. Just recently, a video of a digger was uploaded to social media, where the user said that they found something interesting. The object in question appears to be gold, and has on the back of it hieroglyphics, while on the front is what appears to be an unknown female Egyptian. The carving is strange as it always appears to be staring at you. However, the phenomenon of the eyes appearing to follow you is actually an optical illusion called the Mona Lisa effect. It is named after Leonardo da Vinci's famous painting, the Mona Lisa, which appears to follow viewers no matter where they stand. The effect occurs because of the way our eyes perceive objects in the visual field. When we look at a painting or a portrait, our brains perceive it as a three-dimensional object, even though it is actually flat. This means that our brains try to adjust our perspective based on the position of the painting, causing the eyes to appear to follow us. Oddly enough, though, it's reported that the digger who found this artifact also found various other ancient relics, saying that gold bars along with small golden statues were also found. The digger went on to detail that these objects were found inside an old abandoned tunnel, but didn't give away any details as to where this tunnel was located. Ancient Egypt was one of the most important and influential civilizations in human history. The discoveries and artifacts left behind by the ancient Egyptians provide valuable insights into their culture, religion, social structure, art, and technology. There are various reasons why people illegally dig in Egypt, but most of them are driven by the desire to find valuable antiquities that can be sold on the black market. These antiquities are often stolen from archaeological sites or tombs and sold to collectors or dealers who are willing to pay large sums of money for them. Another reason is the lack of economic opportunities in certain areas of Egypt, particularly in rural areas where poverty is widespread. In such areas, people may turn to illegal digging as a way to make money, since the sale of antiquities can be a lucrative business. In some cases, political instability and conflict can also contribute to illegal digging. During times of unrest, security forces may be preoccupied with other issues, allowing looters to operate with relative impunity. Unfortunately, illegal digging in Egypt has a significant impact on the country's cultural heritage. When antiquities are stolen and sold on the black market, they are often lost forever, with little hope of ever being recovered or returned to their rightful place in history. Additionally, illegal digging can cause damage to archaeological sites and tombs, further eroding Egypt's rich cultural legacy. Interestingly, gold was highly valued in ancient Egypt and was used for a variety of purposes, such as jewelry, religious objects, and as a symbol of power and wealth. The ancient Egyptians obtained gold from various sources, including mines in Nubia and the Eastern Desert. Some of the gold was used to make elaborate burial masks, jewelry, and other funerary objects for the pharaohs and other elite members of society. The tombs of some pharaohs, such as King Tut, were filled with gold objects, including the famous solid gold funerary mask. It's believed that much of the gold from ancient Egypt was eventually melted down and reused for other purposes over time. Some of it may have been lost or stolen during the many invasions and conflicts that occurred throughout Egyptian history. However, there are still many ancient Egyptian artifacts made of gold that have survived to this day and continue to fascinate people around the world. The ancient Egyptians were most successful during the period known as the New Kingdom, which lasted from approximately 1550 BCE to 1069 BCE. This era saw a period of great expansion and prosperity for Egypt, with powerful pharaohs who were able to establish Egypt as a major military and economic power in the region. During the New Kingdom, Egypt experienced a renaissance in art, architecture, and culture. The pharaohs of this era built magnificent temples and palaces, and many of the most famous monuments of Egypt, such as the temple complex at Karnak and the Valley of the Kings, were constructed during this time. The New Kingdom also saw the rise of the powerful pharaohs, such as Ahmose I, Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, Amenhotep III, and Ramses II, who were able to conquer neighboring territories, establish trade networks, and build an empire. One of the most significant events of the New Kingdom was the reign of Akhenaten, who attempted to establish a new monotheistic religion centered around the worship of the sun god, Aten. While his religious reforms were ultimately unsuccessful, they represented a major departure from traditional Egyptian beliefs and had a profound impact on Egyptian culture. The New Kingdom came to an end in the late 11th century BCE due to a combination of factors, including economic instability, internal unrest, and invasions by foreign powers. However, its legacy continued to influence Egyptian culture and society for centuries to come, and many of its achievements continue to fascinate and inspire people around the world. Someone just reported that something opened up above CERN's Large Hadron Collider. Photographs of the strange object were posted to social media, with many saying that the object looks like a dark portal. Oddly enough, the user who posted the footage said that some sources are saying that these photographs were captured above the United States, but the truth is that they were actually taken above Switzerland's Large Hadron Collider complex. The opening has been described as looking like a dark portal, with the user saying that people were pulling to the side of the road to take videos. What's interesting about this object is that some said that when you look directly into the hole, you can't see the sky on the other side. If the event itself wasn't strange enough, people then started to come forward and comment that they had a dream about this event, with dozens of people saying that they had a dream where they imagined a portal opening in the sky, and detailed that when they were looking inside it, they felt complete happiness come over them. Oddly enough, one person even said that they shared the dream they had on their social media page several days before this happened. Strangely, the dark opening appears to just sit in the sky, and as of right now, it's caused a variety of theories to be put forward by those who've seen it. One user suggested that experiments may have been conducted in the area, and that this is the result of one of them, saying that if officials did this during the night, then it wouldn't be easy to see. As if this mysterious sighting wasn't strange enough, some people were saying that they could see objects flying out of the portal, with one woman describing how she saw two orb-like objects. And interestingly, these were even picked up on the video. These orbs are often associated with strange phenomena, and sightings of these bright lights go back hundreds of years. The reason people say they are connected to other mysterious aircrafts is due to how they move, with eyewitnesses saying that they appear to be under intelligent control, as they are able to travel at high speeds, make quick maneuvers, and even vanish within seconds. These strange glowing orbs have also been captured on things like webcams, and it's led researchers to say that they are perhaps one of the most reported mysterious flying objects, and that they are known for being difficult to photograph, as they just appear as glowing smudges on cameras. In recent years, scientists have come forward and said that humans have the ability to control and manipulate the weather, saying that this involves the use of various techniques to alter the natural processes that create weather phenomena such as rain, snow, hail, and fog. One common technique used involves the use of chemicals, such as silver iodide or dry ice, to stimulate cloud formation and precipitation. The chemicals are released into the atmosphere either by ground-based generators or by aircraft, where they are dispersed into the clouds to encourage the formation of rain or snow. Other techniques that have been proposed include the use of lasers, microwave beams, and even large-scale wind turbines to alter the movement and behavior of atmospheric systems. While these techniques have shown some promise in certain applications, their effectiveness remains limited and controversial. Some went down this route and suggested that this was part of some experiment being carried out in the area. Skeptics were not impressed, and said that what people are most likely seeing is nothing more than a cloud or a smoke ring. A smoke ring is a visible vortex ring formed by smoke or other particles in the air. The ring is created when a burst of air is expelled through a circular opening, such as the mouth or the barrel of a smokestack. The air forms a vortex as it travels through the opening, creating a circular motion that draws in smoke or other particles from the surrounding air. As the vortex expands and moves away from the opening, it forms a distinct ring shape that is often visible for several seconds. However, many who allegedly witnessed this event said that the ring didn't disperse, and noted that it could be seen hovering in the sky for several minutes without moving. They also noted that if it was a smoke ring, then you would be able to see through it, but said that you couldn't, and that all you could see when you looked into it was darkness. As of right now, people are still debating what this object is and where it came from. The Large Hadron Collider is a particle accelerator located at CERN near Geneva, Switzerland. It is the largest and most powerful particle accelerator in the world, with a 27-kilometer or 17-mile ring-shaped tunnel buried underground, designed to accelerate particles to very high speeds and smash them into each other. The Large Hadron Collider is primarily used to conduct experiments in high-energy physics. By colliding particles at extremely high speeds, the Large Hadron Collider allows scientists to investigate the fundamental structure of matter and explore the behavior of subatomic particles. Some of the main objectives of the Large Hadron Collider include searching for the Higgs boson, a particle that is thought to give mass to other particles, studying the nature of dark matter and dark energy, and investigating the possibility of extra dimensions. The Large Hadron Collider works by using powerful magnets to accelerate beams of particles to nearly the speed of light. These beams are then directed to collide head-on at 4 points along the tunnel, where detectors are positioned to record the particles produced by the collisions. The detectors allow scientists to analyze the properties of the particles produced, such as their mass, charge, and energy. The Large Hadron Collider has been in operation since 2008 and has made a number of important discoveries in the field of particle physics, including the confirmation of the existence of the Higgs boson in 2012. It is expected to continue operating and producing groundbreaking research for many years to come. The Large Hadron Collider is designed to collide protons or other particles at extremely high energies, and some people have raised concerns that these collisions could create a microscopic black hole that could grow and consume the Earth. Firstly, black holes are formed when massive stars collapse in on themselves and require an enormous amount of mass to form. The energy of the Large Hadron Collider's collisions is not nearly enough to create a black hole of any significant size. Secondly, the Large Hadron Collider's collisions produce particles that quickly decay into lighter particles, and any hypothetical black hole that might be produced would also be highly unstable and would rapidly evaporate due to a process called Hawking radiation. Finally, even if a microscopic black hole were somehow created at the collider, it would be so small and short-lived that it would have no impact on the Earth or its inhabitants. In short, yes, the Large Hadron Collider could theoretically create a black hole, but scientists have said that it's an important scientific tool for studying the fundamental properties of matter and the nature of the universe, and poses no danger of creating a black hole that could threaten the Earth. The Large Hadron Collider is important for several reasons. One of the main goals was to discover the Higgs boson, a fundamental particle that gives mass to other particles. In 2012, the experiments discovered the Higgs boson, which was a major milestone in the field of particle physics. The Large Hadron Collider is capable of producing high-energy collisions that could create new particles, such as supersymmetric particles or extra dimensions. These particles could help solve some of the outstanding mysteries of the universe, such as the nature of dark matter and the unification of the fundamental forces. The standard model of particle physics is the theory that describes the fundamental particles and their interactions. The collider is capable of testing the predictions of the Standard Model and probing for deviations that could reveal new physics beyond the Standard Model. The collider has pushed the boundaries of technology in fields such as superconducting magnets, vacuum systems, and particle detectors. The development of these technologies has led to new innovations in fields such as medicine and materials science. The Large Hadron Collider is a massive scientific project and one of the most expensive experiments in history. The collider is operated by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and its construction and maintenance have required a significant investment of resources. The construction of the Large Hadron Collider was estimated to cost around $3.8 billion at the time it began in 1998. However, this figure does not include the cost of upgrades and maintenance, which have brought the total cost closer to $11.8 billion as of 2021. The collider is also a very large project in terms of the number of people involved in its operation and maintenance. It employs over 3,000 scientists and engineers from more than 60 countries. While the cost of the Large Hadron Collider is significant, it is important to note that the scientific discoveries made by the LHC have had a profound impact on our understanding of the universe. Researchers at the collider have said that studying black holes is important because they provide a unique laboratory for testing the fundamental laws of physics. Black holes are formed from the collapse of massive stars, and their strong gravitational fields warp space and time in ways that are not yet fully understood. By studying black holes, scientists can gain insights into the nature of gravity, the behavior of matter under extreme conditions, and the structure of space and time itself. One of the most exciting areas of research in black hole physics is the study of gravitational waves, which are ripples in the fabric of space and time that are produced when massive objects like black holes collide. These waves were first predicted by Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity, but it was not until 2015 that they were directly detected by the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. In addition to advancing our understanding of the laws of physics, studying black holes can also help us to better understand the formation and evolution of galaxies. Supermassive black holes are thought to be at the centers of most galaxies, and their gravitational influence can shape the growth and structure of these systems over billions of years. Finally, studying black holes can help us to better understand the nature of the universe itself. Black holes are one of the most intriguing and mysterious objects in the cosmos, and their study can shed light on questions about the nature of dark matter, dark energy, and the ultimate fate of the universe. When an object gets close enough to a black hole, the black hole's gravity becomes so strong that it can no longer escape. This region of space from which nothing can escape is called the event horizon. As the object gets closer to the black hole, it experiences a process called spaghettification. This is because the gravity of the black hole is so strong that it pulls the object apart into long, thin strands like spaghetti. Eventually, the object crosses the event horizon and enters the black hole. At this point, it is impossible for any information about the object to escape the black hole. It is thought that the object's mass adds to the total mass of the black hole, and the object becomes a part of the singularity at the center of the black hole. It is still not well understood what happens to matter at the singularity, but it is thought that the laws of physics break down and a new kind of physics takes over. Black holes are formed from the remnants of massive stars that have exhausted their fuel and collapsed under the force of gravity. Therefore, the number of black holes in the universe is related to the number of massive stars that have existed in the history of the universe. It is estimated that there are millions or even billions of black holes in our Milky Way galaxy alone. However, most of these black holes are so-called stellar black holes, with masses only a few times that of our Sun. There are also intermediate mass black holes with masses between 100 and 100,000 times that of our Sun, and supermassive black holes with masses millions or billions of times that of our Sun. The origin of intermediate mass and supermassive black holes is still a topic of active research. The exact mechanism for the formation of black holes is still not fully understood, but the study of black holes can provide insights into the fundamental nature of gravity and the structure and evolution of the universe. This interesting photograph was just published to social media, but those who've seen it can't seem to agree on what it shows. The black object sticks out against the clouds and can be seen hovering close to the ground. Some users speculated that it was some sort of atmospheric phenomena, while others who allegedly saw the object said that it suddenly manifested in the sky. The reason it caught people's attention was because of how it was moving, with it reminding some of a symbiote. Most of the residents who saw the object agreed that it wasn't something like a cloud or balloon, and went on to detail that it appeared to be shape-shifting. Interestingly, these types of sightings have been given a name, and they go by atmospheric jellyfish. Individuals who have seen them have said they're unlike anything they've seen before, and that they look like giant jellyfish hovering around in the sky. This unexplained phenomena has been cited by hundreds of people across the globe, including top meteorological scientists, military bases, and cities. These strange lights or objects have confused many people, which is why many have called them mysterious flying objects. According to NASA, these objects may be the result of space debris reflecting off of the northern lights, but it's important to note that they've been observed in various countries and at different altitudes. One user said the following: "It's an atmospheric thing. I see this a lot when there's thunderstorms around. Under the right temperature and airflow conditions, you can see these strange objects form." End quote. While this user said the following: "I saw something similar to this in Texas last year while I was driving. I wasn't able to pull over and take pictures, but I remember thinking that the object looked like a jellyfish, as it appeared to have tentacle-like appendages." End quote. Interestingly, a similar incident was reported across various areas in London, with residents saying that the police turned up soon afterwards and told people to move out of the area. Many people aren't aware of this, but police have investigated mysterious aircrafts in the past. In fact, there have been several documented cases of law enforcement officers encountering strange objects and glowing lights while on duty and reporting them to their superiors. One well-known case occurred in 1966 in Portage County, Ohio, where several police officers witnessed a series of strange lights in the sky and admitted to chasing the object for over 30 minutes. Another notable case occurred in 1973 in Mansfield, Ohio, where two police officers reported seeing a strange aircraft hovering over a nearby field. In addition, there have been numerous cases where civilian witnesses have called the police to report sightings of mysterious objects, and officers have responded to investigate. While the police are not typically equipped to conduct in-depth investigations into these types of sightings, they may collect eyewitness testimony, take photographs or videos, and file reports with appropriate agencies such as the FAA or local research organizations. There's certainly no shortage of mysterious encounters with unknown objects. The Tangmere sighting. On the 1st of June back in 1950, a landing Royal Air Force pilot, piloting a Gloster Meteor, one of the fastest jets in the world at the time, claimed to have sighted and passed by an unidentified object that was believed to have been hovering over the Tangmere Royal Air Force Base. As the pilot was preparing his descent towards the base, he claimed that he witnessed the body of the craft shining with a bright light that surrounded its chassis, with the body of the craft rotating in a circle as it passed by his aircraft. Using his altimeter, the pilot estimated that the object must have been traveling somewhere around 20,000 feet, flying in the direction of east from the Portsmouth area. The report was later confirmed after the Royal Air Force Base Tangmere inquired to the Royal Air Force Base Wartling, found in Sussex, if they had also picked up the object on their radar equipment. According to the Wartling radar station, they claimed to have watched the craft on its PPI screen at around the same time the pilot claimed to have seen the craft, between 2:30 and 3 in the afternoon. Although a series of reports surrounding unidentified objects predated this witness account, the Tangmere sighting is often described as Britain's first flying saucer incident. Shortly following the details and confirmation of the military report, the British government would establish the Flying Saucer Working Party, the British Ministry of Defence's first official investigation into the flying saucer phenomenon. No further information surrounding the report would come forward. The William Shatner interception. One of the strangest, mysterious aircraft incidents in history, An encounter that would result in the passing of a Royal Air Force pilot would be reported on the 8th of September back in 1970 and lead to serious investigations made by the British Ministry of Defence following the impossible-to-explain event. According to the military reports, the Royal Air Force pilot, known as William Schaffner, was tasked with intercepting a peculiar aircraft that had first been spotted on radar by 3 different independent radar detection stations, including the Royal Air Force Base, Fylingdale's Early Radar Warning Station, the United States Air Force Thule Air Base Radar Station, located in Greenland, and the Colorado Springs Radar Base at the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado, USA. Fearing that the object was some form of unknown advanced aircraft, William Schaffner was given the order to intercept the object over the North Sea and engage in a firefight if necessary. Unfortunately for the Royal Air Force pilot, that would be the last time that William Schaffner would ever be seen. Radar detected his plane dropping from its height, and shortly thereafter, William Schaffner was unresponsive. Roughly 4 months later, the aircraft of William Schaffner would be recovered from the seabed. Oddly enough, the entire plane was relatively untouched, with the main body of the plane staying enclosed underwater. When investigators looked inside the craft to better understand what could have happened to the pilot, they quickly noticed that William was nowhere to be found within the completely enclosed aircraft. So, what do you make of these mysterious reports? And what do you think this strange object is that was captured manifesting in the sky? And have you ever seen anything similar? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.